Welcome back. Father says, I just like to ask, so one analogy is parang sinasabi nyo sa natural kasi parang built-in siya, parang instruction book as you were saying. So parang ganito, kunyari, may kotse, yung kotse, para umandar na maayos, siguro ang natural law niya is lalagyan mo ng gasolina. Pero kontra sa natural law ng gasolina, nalagyan mo siya ng, let's say, hotcake syrup. Tama ba yung pagkaintindi ko na yun yung parang isang magandang analogy sa natural law?
Like any analogy, some part of that is the same, but some part will not be the same. That's how analogy works. No? So, tama yung analogy in the sense that when we follow natural law for us, then we obtain our good, our end, and our fulfillment. Parang yung kotse yan, pag sinundan mo yung instruction manual o ginamit mo sa tamang paraan,
i-tune up dapat,
then you'll get the purpose for which you got it. So it will bring you places. Pag hindi mo ginamit sa tamang paraan, di andar. So the analogy is correct. So in the sense that if we follow natural law, then we will obtain our good and our fulfillment.
And more or less yun yung sinasabi nyo, parang yun yung parang penalty ng natural law. Na pag hindi mo ginawa yung natural law, yun yung parang magiging penalty niya. Hindi mo makakamit yung dapat mo.
Hindi mo makakamit yung iyong self-fulfillment, development, and happiness. Yung true human good. Yung talagang kabutihan natin.
Pero yung sinasabi niya, medyo mali rin yung analogy. Saan nagkamali yung analogy na yun?
The analogy is different in the sense that yung kasi in the case of the car or how you use the car, yung kanyang law of nature, ano yan so yung gano'n na siya. You have to really, it's something that it's there and the car has to follow it necessarily. I mean, that's the way the car will necessarily behave. Hindi niya kayang gumawa ng iba. Right? Ngayon, sa tao naman, yung natural law natin, iba yung pag-andar niya Hindi natin masasabing, basta ganyan nung naturang batas sa akin, ganyan na ako kikilos. Hindi kasi we have freedom.
Yung kotse kasi walang freedom.
Freedom yan. Ganyan talaga yan andar, no? So, dapat ganyan talaga. Pero sa tao, we have freedom because first, we recognize the law. Na nandito yan nalalaman natin, nababatid natin kung ano yung sinasabi ng batas sa atin dahil nasa pag-iisip natin yan, nasa rason natin yan.
Pwede bang medyo, pasok na ako ng konti. Ang natural, hindi tama na sabihin ng natural law na ganito, na ang natural law is, pag gutom ako, kakain ako. Hindi siya natural law.
Yan, medyo law of nature yan.
Law of nature yon.
Medyo law of nature yan. Pag gutom ka, kailangan kumain.
Okay. Pag naantok, matulog ka.
Okay.
So, ano ang natural law bilang sa pagkatao?
Kasi, yung ating mga natural ends, halimbawa, pagkain, gusto kong kumain. Pagod, gusto kong matulog. Like that, no? So, nakakamit natin yan or kinakamit natin yung mga natural ends natin not in a necessary way. In the sense that pinag-iisipan natin yan at nakikita natin, nabapatid natin kung paano ang pinaka-angkop na paraan, ang pinaka-makataong paraan makamit natin yung mga layunin natin, our ends and purposes. Like for example, yan nga, so gutom ako, then gusto kong kumain. Now, I will satisfy that, but not necessarily that I will eat, let's say, McDonald's. I can choose, I don't know, so another...
Pero yung pagkain, wala kang choice, di ba? You have to eat.
Yeah, that one is the law of nature. You have to eat.
Okay.
But how you fulfill that, you have many choices. For example, I will not do it the same way that the dog might do it. Because I will say, hindi ako dog. Hindi ako ganyan kumain. Tao ako kumain. So, nakaupo ako sa mesa, tapos pag-iisipan ko rin, ano ba yung tamang pagkain dito? Ito, bawal sa akin. Mataas ang cholesterol nito.
Okay.
Ito, sobra na to. Masyado na to. Kailangan bawasan.
Yung sinasabi mo ngayon, that's the natural law.
Now, that's where natural law comes in because that's where reason starts working.
Okay.
And it starts telling us what is the most human and fitting way to fulfill our ends. So that's where natural law comes in. So we're not bound by our nature na dahil gutom ako, dapat akong kumain. Oh, tama yun. Pero
siguro, like if I can make a very bad or graphic example, like a human, like for example, siguro isang goldfish, pag nagutom, kakainin niya yung baby niya. Pero I think a human person, natural law,
will not do that.
Will not do that. Even though, kailangan yung kumain ng isang ano.
That's right.
I think, okay.
What about yung mga tao? Kasi I know way back, may isang parang slogan na advertisement, nakasabi, magpakatotoo ka or keep it real. So, kung sinundan yun ng mga tao na sinabi na, hindi, ginagawa ko to kasi ganito talaga ako, feeling ko this is the way I was made, natural to sa akin. Is that necessarily following natural law or hindi pa talaga?
Hindi pa yan eh. Kasi ang natural law, hindi feeling yan eh. Hindi, pakiramdam ko ganito eh. Ang natural law is constituted by our practical reason. Pero isa pa, not just any practical reason. It has to be right reason. Kailangan tamang pag-iisip. Now, this is where people say that natural law is very hard to know kasi hindi siya spontaneous or hindi siya nakikilala ng lahat. Not everyone recognizes it. But that's true. That as much as that, St. Thomas already said that the natural law, though it is constituted by reason, it is not plain and easily discerned by everyone. Because he made these different levels of understanding of the natural law. The most basic precepts of natural law, everyone will agree. So, for example, everyone will agree, the good must be done. The evil must be avoided.
Siya yung parang
yan ang pinakauna kasi. But then, there are other levels of natural law that, according to St. Thomas, maybe the more sophisticated levels can be perceived or discerned only by the good, the virtuous men. So yun ang
siguro and obviously it is incredibly medyo complicated, pero siguro isa-isa natin. One of the questions na tinanong sa akin is saan ba nakikita tong natural law na to? And I think the reason why tinanong isang beses sa akin yun is, kunyari may nagtanong, ano ba ang civil law natin? So ang gagawin ko lang bilang abogado, lalabas ko lang yung civil code. Or sasabihin, ano ba ang constitutional law? So ang gagawin ko lang, lalabas ko lang yung constitution. So minsan may nagtanong sa akin, saan bang libro nakikita yung natural law na yan? Obviously, wala.
Obviously, wala.
So pag tinanong ka na parang when you say, Father, na it's an instruction manual, I think, for humans. So pag may nagtanong sa atin, nasaan yung natural law? Saan siya makikita?
So, yun nga, yung natural law in its entirety and in its, you might say, purity, can only be given without much error by people who practice virtuous lives. So, good persons. So, the wise, the learned, the saintly, the holy people, like that. So, usually, you might ask them questions about what is morally upright or good in this or that. They can give the answer. But then, if you want maybe a very outline source of the natural law, we have it in the Bible, in the book of Exodus, in the 10 Commandments. So the 10 Commandments outline the basic precepts of the natural law.
But the problem there is that, and I think we discussed this in the first episode that we met, is that well, kasi we say that natural law is universal, it's applicable to all, kahit ba hindi ka Kristiyano o hindi.
That's right.
So, paano, for example, you are faced with somebody na hindi naman naniniwala sa Christian belief.
That's right.
So, paano natin masasabi, no, pero natural law pa rin is applicable sa'yo.
That's right. Now, so, what we will have to require of people so that we might discuss natural law civilly or intelligently is that we might have to ask them to approach the topic with an open mind and with a little bit of readiness to follow a certain kind of reasoning. Right? Now, so if so granted, you're not a believer, you might be an atheist, or you might have a different set of writing, scripture, like the Quran, like that. Okay, so fine. So let's not go into that as the source of our discussion. But we can discuss natural law on the basis of reason. Kasi it's based on that, on practical reason, good reasoning. And so when we want to find out what might be the principle of natural law in this concrete situation, then we have to adduce human reasons, or reasons that might make us see this fulfills a person or this does not fulfill a person.
So well, one question which I have na feeling ko question na nung mga nanonood is, so yung paraan lang para talagang to learn about this natural law is to ask people who live morally upright. But aside from them, may iba pa bang source to find out about natural law? Like for example, tinuturo ba to sa school, or may mga course ba that will enlighten them about this?
Well, recently there's some moral philosophers, legal philosophers, and educators who have started to bring up this topic as formal courses in the university. Hopefully, that might snowball so that maybe you might find courses on the natural law even up to the level of high school or even earlier in elementary school.
Okay, can I ask again? Kasi I really like to pinpoint kung saan pwedeng masabi na pinapanggalingan ng natural law. And you say kasi na it's based on the fact na parang it's yung sa ating pagkatao.
Yes.
Bakit? Yung natural law ba nanggagaling dahil sa characteristics ng tao? Or yung parang tendency ng tao? Or is it because of yung objectives ng tao? And then if it is yung tendency or objective ng tao, eh ano yung tendency or objectives na yon?
So, ang source of natural law is ang kalikasan ng tao, ang naturaleza, human nature. That includes that, the way it is, its inclinations, above all, its reasoning power.
Okay.
So that's really the, you might say, the entire source.
If I may, so can you give please one example of a natural law?
Respect the human life of every individual.
So, pwede ba nating matrace saan siya nanggagaling? Okay, kasi when you say, okay, natural law, we should respect the life of every individual. Why did we say na kailangan nating irespeto ang life ng every individual?
Because every individual realizes that life for him is his most important value. Pag yun ay nawala, di wala na siya.
So, parang
that's why he naturally protects it.
Okay, so ang thinking is kasi tao ka, buhay ka, gusto mo mabuhay, so therefore we should protect yung buhay.
Because ngayon, since we share the same nature, then I conclude that if I feel this way, if I think this way about my life, then you might think that way too.
But it does not mean na, okay, I protect my life, pero does it logically follow na I will have to take care of your life?
Yes.
Why does it logically follow?
It logically follows because we share the same reasoning.
What if, for example, yung duck na yan, siya na lang naiisip pagkain sa mundo? I mean, in order for me to survive, kailangan kong kainin yung duck na yan.
Yes.
Kung mag-aagawan pa tayo sa duck na yan, then hindi tayo mabubusog. So what if, for example, you have to kill me or I have to kill you? In order for one of us to live, that will not be natural law?
No, that will not be natural because another, you might say, basic principle of natural law is that I will have to do towards you what I want you to do towards me. Because if we don't follow that, we will not preserve our lives.
Okay. Pero if I may, hindi naman siya Hobbesian type view na I will keep you alive para protection for myself. Hindi naman ganun.
No, it's different.
Okay.
It's based on the reasoning that we share the same nature. So therefore, we will share the same demands and we'll share the same reasoning.
Okay. So, very interesting. We'll come back again for the final segment of this episode. Thank you.